Awakening in the void. The metallic hum woke me before my eyes opened. My eyelids felt heavy, like they'd been sealed with lead. When I finally pried them apart, blue light pulsed through the room in waves. Soft, rhythmic, almost hypnotic. The walls weren't walls at all, but something living, breathing, shifting, with bioluminescent patterns that seemed to respond to my racing heartbeat. I tried to move. Nothing. My arms refused to obey. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. Panic clawed at my throat, but even that felt distant, muted, as if I were experiencing it through thick glass. "You're awake." Her voice cut through the fog. I turned my head, the only part of me that still responded, and saw her. She stood perhaps 10 feet away, bathed in that ethereal blue glow. At first glance, she looked human. Tall, with flowing silver hair that seemed to move independently of any breeze. Her skin had a faint luminescence, like moonlight on water. But her eyes, those weren't human eyes. They were too large, too dark, with flecks of gold that swirled like distant galaxies. She wore something between a bodysuit and liquid metal, conforming to every curve of her figure. When she moved closer, each step was deliberate, graceful, predatory. "Where am I?" My voice cracked. "What did you do to me?" "You're safe, Ethan." She knew my name. "You're aboard the Resonance, and I haven't done anything to you. Yet." The way she said "yet" sent ice down my spine. "My name is Xia," she continued, circling me slowly. "I know you're afraid. I know you want to understand. But understanding takes time we don't have." Before I could respond, the room shuddered. Red lights erupted across the walls like warning signals. A deep, bone-rattling alarm echoed through the chamber. Xia's perfect composure cracked for just a moment. Her eyes widened, and she pressed her palm against one of the pulsing walls. No, not yet." "What's happening?" The paralysis was wearing off. I felt my fingers twitch, my toes curl. Adrenaline surged through me, hot and electric. She turned back to me, and there was something desperate in those alien eyes now. "We're falling," she said simply. "The ship is dying." "Then fix it." "That's why you're here." Before I could process her words, a sound erupted inside my skull. It wasn't external. It came from within, a frequency that bypassed my ears entirely and vibrated directly in my brain. High-pitched, relentless, agonizing. My jaw clenched, my hands balled into fists. And then I screamed, the frequency of fear. The scream tore out of me like something alive, something that had been trapped inside and finally found an exit. It wasn't just sound, it was everything. Every fear I'd ever suppressed, every moment of terror I'd locked away, every nightmare that had jerked me awake in a cold sweat. It all poured out in one continuous, agonizing wail. And then something changed. The red lights flickered, then shifted back to blue. The walls steadied their pulse. The alarm fell silent. My scream echoed through the chamber, and as it did, I watched in horror as the metallic surfaces absorbed it, drank it in like sustenance. When my lungs finally emptied, I gasped for air, my throat raw, my body trembling. Xia stood closer now, her hand extended but not quite touching me. Her expression was complicated, relief mixed with something that might have been guilt. "What the fuck was that?" I choked out. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know it hurts, but you saved us. You saved everyone on this ship." I wanted to lunge at her, to grab her by that impossible silver hair and demand answers, but my body still wouldn't fully cooperate. Instead, I glared at her with every ounce of hatred I could muster. "Explain, now." She took a breath, an unnecessary gesture, I realized, performed solely for my benefit. This ship runs on resonance energy, emotional frequencies, specifically those generated by extreme states. Your species produces the most potent form we've ever encountered. You're using my fear as fuel? Not just fear, intensity. Raw, unfiltered, emotional power. She sat down across from me, close enough now that I could see faint patterns beneath her skin, like circuitry made of light. You produce more of it than any human we've studied, exponentially more. So what, you just kidnap people and make them scream to death? No, her voice was firm. We had a full crew, volunteers from a dozen species, but there was an accident. A cosmic storm damaged our resonance core. Everyone else, they couldn't produce enough to keep us stable. When I scanned Earth for compatible energy signatures, yours burned like a star. I laughed bitterly. Lucky me. I didn't want this, Ethan. She leaned forward, and for a moment, I saw something vulnerable in those alien features. But we're 3 light years from the nearest station. If the ship loses power, we'll drift into a dead zone. There are 17 beings aboard, including me. Without you, we're all corpses floating in the void. Then let me go home. I can't. The words seemed to pain her. Changing course now would drain the reserves. We'd die before we made it halfway. The realization settled over me like a shroud. I was trapped. Trapped in this ship, trapped in this body that apparently produced emotional jet fuel, trapped with this beautiful, terrible creature who needed me to suffer so she could survive. How long? I asked quietly. 3 weeks, maybe 4. A month of this. A month of that sound ripping through my skull, forcing screams from my throat. A month of being a battery. And if I refuse? The seer's eyes met mine, and I saw the answer there before she spoke. Then we all die together. The intimacy of survival. The hours blurred together. I'd lost count of how many times that frequency had invaded my mind, how many times I'd screamed until my throat bled. The seer stayed with me through all of it, her presence constant, unwavering. Between the episodes, she brought me something that resembled food, translucent cubes that tasted like memories I couldn't quite place. She helped me sit up when the paralysis faded, her hand surprisingly warm against my skin. Tell me about yourself, she said during one of the quiet periods. We sat on opposite sides of the chamber, the blue light casting strange shadows across her face. Why? So you can feel better about torturing me? So I can remember you exist. Her voice was soft. So you stay human to me, not just an energy source. I wanted to hate her. I should have hated her. But there was something disarming about her honesty, the way she didn't try to hide what she was doing or pretend it was anything other than what it was. I'm a musician, I finally said. Was a musician. Played guitar in a band nobody's heard of. We toured dive bars, slept in a van, barely made rent. Did you love it? Every second of it. The memory ached. Even the shitty parts, especially those sometimes. Thea smiled, a strange expression on her alien features. That's it. That's what I sensed in you. You feel everything so deeply. Joy, pain, frustration, passion. Most humans learn to dull themselves. You never did. And now I'm paying for it. She moved closer, close enough that I could see those swirling galaxies in her eyes. You're saving for it. There's a difference. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Tashia's hand shot out to steady herself, landing on my chest. Through the thin material of whatever clothing they'd put me in, I felt the heat of her palm, the slight tremble in her fingers. It's coming, she said. I'm sorry. The frequency hit harder this time. I screamed, and this time I felt her other hand grip mine, squeezing tight as if she were trying to anchor me through the pain. When it finally subsided, I found myself leaning against her, my forehead pressed to her shoulder, her arms wrapped around me. You smell like ozone and starlight, I muttered deliriously. She laughed, a sound like wind chimes. You smell like defiance and coffee. I pulled back to look at her. Coffee? It's imprinted in your cellular structure. You must drink a lot of it. 4 cups a day minimum. We stayed like that, closer than we'd been before, close enough that I could feel the strange rhythm of her breathing, the way her body was warm in some places and cool in others. Thessia, I said quietly, if I'm going to keep doing this, I need something in return. What do you need? Honesty, complete honesty, about everything, about what you are, where you're from, why you really need me. She was silent for a long moment, those golden flecks in her eyes swirling faster. Then she nodded. Ask me anything. Confessions in the dark. The blue light dimmed to almost nothing, leaving us in what Thessia called rest cycle. In the near darkness she was ethereal, ghostly, barely more than a silhouette outlined in faint bioluminescence. I'd screamed 6 more times since our conversation began. Each time she held my hand through it, whispering things I couldn't quite hear but somehow felt. Words in a language my ears didn't understand, but my nervous system did. Now, in the quiet, she told me everything. My species, we call ourselves the Resonant. We're explorers, pilgrims, seekers. We left our home world 3,000 years ago because we nearly destroyed it. War, greed, the usual story. She lay beside me on the platform that served as both chair and bed, her hand still in mine. We discovered that emotional energy could power our technology more efficiently than anything else. It was supposed to be a breakthrough, but it became an addiction. You harvested it, I said. Not a question. Yes. We found worlds teeming with sentient life, and we justified it. Told ourselves we were simply collecting excess energy, that we weren't really hurting anyone. But we were. We were stealing the essence of what made beings alive. Her voice cracked, and I realized with shock that she was crying. Not with tears. Thessia's eyes simply glowed brighter, pulsing with light. It took a catastrophe for us to understand. An entire species on a planet called Viridian collapsed because we drained them. Millions died. The guilt shattered us as a people. We swore never again. We became wanderers, taking only what was freely given, relying on volunteers. So what went wrong here? Cosmic storms are rare but devastating. Ours hit without warning, a wave of dark matter that shredded our core. Everyone in the resonance chamber died instantly. Her grip on my hand tightened. I was on the observation deck. I survived because I wasn't connected. 17 of us left from a crew of 43. And you found me. I found you. She turned to face me fully now, her luminous eyes searching mine. When I scanned Earth's emotional spectrum, most signatures appeared as candles. Soft, controlled, manageable. But yours? Ethan, yours was a wildfire. I've never encountered anything like it. You feel with an intensity that should be impossible. Maybe I'm just fucked up. Maybe you're just alive. She reached up, hesitated, then touched my face with her fingertips. Her skin felt like warm silk. The others are grateful, you know. They don't blame you for your anger. They understand. Do you have someone? I asked suddenly. Out there, somewhere, someone waiting for you? Her hand stilled against my cheek. I did. His name was Calith. He was in the resonance chamber when the storm hit. I'm sorry. So am I. Her thumb traced my cheekbone. He would have liked you. Your defiance, your fire. He appreciated beings who burn bright. The ship trembled. Not an alarm this time, just a normal vibration of movement through space. We were getting closer to the station, I realized. Closer to the end of this nightmare. But lying there in the dark with Thessia, feeling the warmth of her strange body next to mine, I wasn't sure how I felt about that anymore. What happens when we arrive? I whispered. We dock. You go home. You forget this ever happened. Will I? Forget? Thessia's eyes dimmed. If you want to. We have methods. Painless, complete. You'd wake up thinking you'd been on a camping trip or had a strange fever dream. And if I don't want to forget? She said nothing, but I felt her trembling. The choice. The frequency came 3 more times before the station appeared in the viewport. Each time I screamed. Each time the Sia held me. And each time something shifted between us. Something I couldn't name but could feel as surely as the pain in my throat. When the station finally materialized, a massive structure of metal and light like a city built in the void. The Saya led me to the observation deck. The other 17 crew members were there, beings of various shapes and sizes, some almost human, others beautifully alien. They bowed when they saw me, a gesture of respect I didn't feel I'd earned. "They're thanking you," Tasia translated. "You saved families, children, bondmates." I nodded, unable to speak. My throat still felt raw, my body exhausted in ways I'd never known possible. The docking took hours. When it was done, the Saya escorted me to a small chamber near the airlock. On a platform sat my clothes, the jeans and t-shirt I'd been wearing when I'd been taken from my bed in the middle of the night 4 weeks ago. "There's a transport waiting," she said. "It'll take you back to Earth. You'll arrive 30 seconds after you left. Time dilation technology. No one will have missed you." I picked up my shirt, felt the familiar cotton, the frayed hem I'd never bothered to fix. It felt like a relic from another life. And the memory wipe? Optional? Always optional. Tasia stood by the door, her posture rigid, controlled. "If you keep your memories, you can never speak of this. The technology that tracks human communications will flag certain words, concepts. Mentioning us would trigger interventions." So I just go back to my shitty apartment and my dive bar gigs and pretend I didn't spend a month screaming in space? Yes. I turned to face her. What if I don't want to? Something flickered across her face. Hope? Fear? What are you saying? I'm saying... I stepped closer to her, close enough to feel the heat radiating from her skin. I'm saying that maybe I wasn't just chosen because I produce good fuel. Maybe I was chosen because some part of me needed this, needed to be essential, needed to matter. You always mattered. Did I? I laughed bitterly. Playing to crowds of 15 people who aren't listening, sleeping in a van, scraping by on tips and dreams. I've spent my whole life burning bright in an empty room, Thessia. For the first time, someone actually needed that fire. Her eyes were wide, those galaxies swirling faster. You can't stay. You don't understand what you're asking. The resonance chamber. It's being repaired, but there will be other storms, other emergencies. I can't protect you from that. I'm not asking you to protect me. I'm asking you to let me choose. Choose what? I reached up, cupped her face in my hands. Her skin was impossibly soft, warm where I expected cool. Choose this. Choose you. Choose a life where what I feel, what I am, actually means something. Ethan, her voice broke. You don't know me. This has been 4 weeks of crisis and trauma. You're not thinking clearly. Then let me stay until I'm thinking clearly. Let me meet your people, see your world, understand what this life actually means. And if I still want to leave, I'll leave. And if you don't? I pulled her closer, felt her hands settle on my waist. Then I guess you're stuck with the most intense human emotional battery in the galaxy. She laughed and cried at the same time, that strange, luminous glow pulsing from her eyes. You're insane. Probably, I smiled, but you need me. And maybe I need you too. When she kissed me, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Her lips were soft and firm at once, and behind them, I felt that frequency again. But this time, it wasn't painful. This time, it resonated with something deep inside me, something that had always been there, but never had an outlet. We stumbled back against the wall, my hands tangling in her silver hair, her body pressed against mine. "If you stay," she whispered against my mouth, "everything changes. You can't go back." "Good," I said, and kissed her again. The transport left without me. Somewhere on Earth, my empty apartment collected dust. The band would find another guitarist. Life would go on without Ethan Cross. But Ethan Cross had found something better than life as he knew it. He'd found a purpose, a place, a person who needed his fire. 3 months later, when the ship encountered another storm and I screamed us through it with Thessia's hand in mine, I knew I'd made the right choice. I wasn't a battery. I wasn't a victim. I was essential. I was alive. And I was exactly where I needed to be. End.